What's going on, everybody? This is your boy Deluxe20, aka Mr. Camp-tastic. What is up, everybody? This is your boy Deluxe20 bringing you guys the last episode of my PC build. I hope you guys have enjoyed this little ride that I've gone through. If you haven't watched the other videos, go back and watch them and check them out. But if you're just here to see the final review, then you picked the right one. Alright, in the first video I kind of showed off the case and demoed my old PC, showed off the ASUS motherboard that I chose, showed you guys my 4790K Intel i7, and a few other bells and whistles and things for my PC build. In the second video I showed you guys my power supply, the super high powerful Hydro 980 Ti from Corsair, as well as their Hydro H105 CPU cooler, water cooler, and also started to assemble the motherboard. Then in the third episode, which was the last one you guys just watched, I put the H105 cooler together and installed the power supply and mounted that big graphics card and its cooler and all that stuff. Alright guys, here in episode 4, the final episode, what we're going to be doing is we're going to put some finishes touches on this build. We're going to start with the hard drives. We have the 1 terabyte that you guys saw that I took out of my old PC, as well as we're going to install that new 3 terabyte Western Digital Black and the Corsair SSD. Following that, we're going to give our first attempt at a startup. Of course, I'm going to run into a minor problem and I have to do a little bit of troubleshooting, but we get it all figured out. Then we're going to show off the final product, and you guys are going to check out those new LED light bars that I put in there for a little bit of a light show. I also want to remind you guys that this is my first ever build, so I am a PC building noob. So if you guys see anything, let me know down in the comments below. There may be some things I need to change or do differently. I hope you guys have enjoyed this series, and I hope you enjoyed this last video from this series, so check it out. Alright, first I have my 1 terabyte that I've already installed. It was easy to install, and as you can see, it just clicks right into place. Here on the back you can see that there's the plugins for the SATA cable and the power cable, and then you just slide it right back into the tray. We're going to take out this bottom tray that's empty, and that's where we're going to install our 3 terabyte drive. Let's get this drive open. We're just going to rip it open. Alright, now that we got it open, you're just going to take the tray and you're going to slide it into place. There's 4 pegs on it and there's 4 holes on the hard drive, so you just slide it into those 4 pegs. That one's a little tricky to finally get it in, and then all you have to do is just slide it right back into the area that you want it. Now I've left this middle one open. I've taken out the tray so that I have plenty of airflow going through there to cool both. There you go. Now on the back side, you can see I have the 4 bays there for the hard drive, so I'm going to be putting in the SSD, this 480 Neutron XT from Corsair. Now if you don't have these pre-installed ones, you can buy something that looks like this, and basically what that does is you're just going to take your SSD and mount it to it, and then it'll go into one of those trays. But luckily these have these little trays. You can take them out if you need to, and it's just going to slide into place. Something like that, and then you just lock it back into place. Now these are the SATA cables. What they do is they send the data from the hard drive into the motherboard, and then these little cables right here are going to give power, and we're going to run that through all of the hard drives and back to the power supply. So I'm going to get those 3, so I'm going to run these cables through and make sure everything lines up. You may have to move cables around, you may have to take stuff out, put it back in, just to make sure you get it into the right place. But as you can see here on the back, there's basically 2 places to plug in. One is for the SATA cable, as you can see right there. And once you get that plugged into where you want it, you can just slide it back in. There we go. So I have the SATA cable connected, and then I'm going to take these out so that I can get to the back of the other hard drives and make sure I get everything plugged in properly. Alright, here you can see on the back, there's the SATA cable, plugs in on that side, and then over on the other side, There's a little close up there. That's for the SATA and that's for the power cable. And they basically just slide right onto those. It's easy plug in. Alright, so I'm going to run these cables through and make sure I have everything the way that I want it to be so that I can get all of my hard drives plugged in. So I've got that one plugged in. I'm going to plug this one there in the bottom. And then I've got to get this cable back through so that it goes to the power supply. Alright, like I said, sometimes you may have to maneuver the cables, move them around, do things in a different configuration so that your cables are in the best spot possible. Alright, so I got that plugged in. Now I'm going to run my cables back through. Sometimes you may have to move them to different places, go through a different grommet, whatever it is, just so that you can get everything as clean as possible there on the back. Alright, now that I've got that, I've got to run these SATA cables back around so that they can plug into the motherboard. Alright, so I've got them pulled back through and they're plugged in here at the motherboard. Now here on the back, I've got the cables for the fans, these front fans on the case. And I'm just going to run these off to the side so that they're out of the way and so that I can get them plugged into the motherboard. Alright, now that we have those out of the way and ran around, we've got them plugged in for the console fan there on the motherboard. Now we're ready for our first startup. Fingers crossed that it works. We turn it on, we get no power to anything, and I realized that I did not plug in the power to the motherboard. So what I'm going to have to do now, it's clearly marked CPU. So now what I got to do is I'm going to run this up across the top, and I'll plug it into the top of the motherboard, and then I'll just run that through the top. Here we go, plenty of room. Again, this case is great for cable management because there's so much room to do things. Alright, just gonna plug it in right up here at the top, and then I'll run it along behind the back of the case down to the bottom, and I'm just gonna plug it in down here into the power supply. Alright, now we're ready to start up. As you can see, things are starting to light up, the fans and everything. So we get the ASUS screen to come up. I had to get out my keyboard there so that I can plug it in and make sure I can get through all the process of starting up. There you can see everything seems to be running right. You can see all the information there from your motherboard software that comes with it. So I got that up and running. Then we get the Windows screen, which is a good sign, and then it tells us getting your devices ready, and we're done. So now what we got to do is a little bit of cable management. Now cable management is probably my weakest point of building things or doing anything with electronics, period, in my office and in my PC. So what I used is a lot of twist ties. Now most of the things that you buy for your PC will come with twist ties, and I use those instead of zip ties just because it's so much easier to rearrange things. If something doesn't work or if you need to move it later on, then it's all twist tied together, and that makes it a lot easier than if you did a zip tie, then you had to go back and cut it, put it on another zip tie. So as you can see, as I have this sped up, I'm just kind of trying to get bunches to twist together so that they can fit inside the case and so that it's back out of the way. The reason you really want to do cable management, you want things to be out of the way, is mainly just to help with airflow, so you don't have like a big jumble of wires there in the middle. So it doesn't have to be perfect, especially if it's something you can't see. Now some people may be OCD and they have to have it all perfect. I'm not one of those people. So now I can just slide the back door thing there onto the hinges and close it shut, and there you go. That side's good to go. Alright, so we have everything going, everything's working. Up in the top right, you can kind of see inside those bays, I put the little sensor for my light. As you can see, as I turn on the lights, I have a light bar at the top, and I put one at the bottom, and it's just ran inside along the case, kind of on the right side. As you can see, those cables going up. But I had to have the sensor thing there so that you could use the remote control, the IR sensor. So we're just going to slide this panel into its hinges just like we did the other side, and we'll just shut the door in place. And again, the thing I like about this case is that you can just take the doors on and off and open it with a handle. So I showed you guys kind of the remote earlier on the box for the LEDs. So I'm just going to kind of strobe through some of the lights and let you guys kind of look at the different colors and things like that. Now the lights that came with the fans, the front of the case, and the one that is with the graphics card are all white. And so usually when I turn the lights on the inside, I usually leave it white. But with them being white, you can do different colors and it kind of all blends in. You can't really tell that they're white when you have different colors on. They kind of blend all together. So that's gonna do it for this series. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Sorry it took so long for me to get everything together, and I had problems with my video. As you can see, I had problems with focusing with my camera because it was a new camera at the time. Between my last episode and this episode, I was sick, and so I didn't have time to get it done. I was out of work and didn't do anything for like a week. So now I got it back up and running. So I hope you guys enjoyed this series. If you did, let me know. Leave a like down below. I definitely enjoyed building it. The making into video was a little bit more of a chore, but I do want to thank Corsair for the stuff that they sent me, because without them it wouldn't be possible for me to put all this stuff together. So thank you to them, and thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.